The police channel all 911 calls from that area to the civilians. Unless there is a major incident or a victim demands an arrest, officers always in plain clothes shadow the workers. Can you believe this? I mean, I'm smiling from ear to ear on this. The civilians have no arrest powers, but they have persuaded people to turn in illegal guns, prevented shoplifting, kept a man from robbing a bodega, and stopped a pregnant woman from hitting a boyfriend who had not bought a car seat and a stroller as he had promised. Now, they are part of the Brownsville Safety Alliance, a group of neighborhood and city groups, police officers, and members of Kings County District Attorney's Office that is trying to ensure that fewer people are arrested and entangled in the criminal justice system. So you see both law enforcement and the community, or the community and law enforcement working together hand in hand, and what that outcome can be. Now, responses in the community. Residents have embraced the concept. They say we feel more safe. We can walk without feeling anxiety, he said. While they throw that we do need police, it's possible that we can police ourselves. And that's coming from Nyron Campbell, Assistant Program Manager at Brownsville Inn, Violence Out. And in Brownsville, the effort not only gives residents more say over what public safety looks like, but also can deter crime if people know that there are more eyes watching. So Max, I mean, this is fabulous, and hopefully this can be scaled up. No, it has to be, tweaked even more to make sure that the civilians are safe. But the fact that police are in plain clothes and working side by side with these community members definitely gives me great hope.
Yeah, I mean, it's often said people from outside New York think that it's a place where no one knows anybody, but it's actually a place of incredibly strong neighborhoods and communities. And when you have community elders on the corners, people care. It does create a sense that you have your community back. And what's so inspiring about this is it's not some crazy new idea. This is just rolling back to a balance of community policing that used to be fairly commonplace. And people reported having much better relationships with police. So I would love to see this expand. I think it's a great, if it can make it in New York, it can make it anywhere.
Isn't that the truth? And Max, it's reminding me when I was a Cleveland City Council member in my community, there were a group of elders. It was called the CB Patrol, and it was mainly elders because they had the time, but they would go out on a regular basis and patrol the community. There were community police, real community policing. There were community police stations in most community wards in the city of Cleveland. So you don't have to go to some far away precinct. It's right there in the community. And they worked in conjunction with the community police satellite office and would patrol, knock on doors, say hi to neighbors, ask people how they're doing. And it really was a big deterrent. People felt more engaged, they felt more listened to, and surprise, surprise, it gave the community the ability to build relationship with law enforcement officers that were in the community on a regular basis. So you are absolutely right. Hearing you talk about that reminded me that no, this is not new. This is just something that has been pulled out. The funding has been cut from it, and we need to make more investments and convince or encourage more communities to do the same. Well, yeah. Well, that is our time.
It's much cheaper.
Yes, in the long run, definitely much cheaper and much healthier too. So yeah, kudos to Brooklyn. Kudos, big ups to my city of Cleveland who used to do that as well. And hopefully we can get that back all over the country. Well, that is our time today. Max and I have just had a ball talking about these segments, and we hope that you have learned something and that you feel inspired. Thank you so much for your support of Unbossed and the TYT Network. Now, you absolutely know what I want you to do around this time. I always want you to keep the faith without a doubt. But with that faith, baby, I need you to marry a whole lot of fight. Until next time.
Welcome, friends. Welcome, family. What's up, Ma? Welcome to another edition of The Watch List, you guys. It's a Tuesday edition of the show. Lots going on, as you can probably imagine. Of course, as we lead back into this, again, I missed most of you guys last week, so I got to get that energy going again, get these little sniffles out. So, of course, I need a little bit of help here. Wosny Lambre joins me on the program today. He's a TY contributor.
Hey, man, we got on this Skype, and I'm like, something's off about Jayar right now.
What? Did I not apply the makeup fully?
No, it's the dreads is gone.
You cut your dreads?
You cut your dreads.
I was like, I think I'm gonna leave this hat off until Woz finally looks up.
It's so crazy because a lot of times people cut their hair and they get it sort of close cropped like mine, and it looks weird. Mm-hmm. Because you didn't do that, it didn't look as striking. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like, wow. Yeah. Looks good though. I'm into it.
I appreciate you, bro. There was a bit of a time when I needed to go ahead and get rid of, but you know what? As I said yesterday, maybe we'll do this all week until everyone fully sees it. It is still hats and hoodies on the program, despite the lack of hair that's all in the way.
It's fire, man.
Sometimes you got to change things up. Mark it down on your calendars. It's a new day here on the Watch List. Thank you for finally noticing, bro. I mean, I hope you don't wait that long to let your lady know that you've noticed a change of hairstyle.
No, because I hear about these changes weeks before they come. It's like, oh, I'm thinking about doing X, Y, and Z. These are the options, blah, 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 blah. So no, you know, those kinds of decisions, I'm intimately involved, involuntarily, I might add.
As long as she doesn't watch this particular program, then you can still be on that without knowing that you don't want to be. Let's go ahead and get started with what we're talking about here, though. Glad you guys could join us as well. And since you're here already, all you punctual people that got a chance to see the whiteness that is my hair, please like, subscribe, go ahead and share that damn stream. We're gonna put a lot of these videos up. In fact, damn near all of them up on TYT's Watch List TYT over on YouTube. Check them out there too as well. Share those if you want to let everyone know what we're doing. Let's go ahead and start with what you guys might be interested in, because there's a bit of a situation going on down in Florida. Ron DeSantis signed a new bill into law that would put more restrictions on migrant, specifically workers, but they're saying just all these crazy immigrants that are destroying our country. Well, they've run into a problem. Let's watch.
This bill is 100% supposed to scare you.
Y las malas noticias es que este proyecto de ley 100% tiene el propósito de darles miedo.
I'm a farmer and the farmers are mad as hell.
Yo soy un agricultor y los agricultores están bien bravos.
We are losing employees. They're already starting to move to Georgia and other states.
Estamos perdiendo empleados y se están mudando a otros estados como Georgia.
It's urgent that you talk to all your people and convince them that you have resources, state representatives, and other people that can explain the bill to you.
Really? That's a Republican Florida State Representative Rick Roth, not Ross. Rick Roth, they're talking to a group of immigrants, migrants, maybe folks who know them, to plead and let them know, yo, please don't leave the state. We're having problems finding people to work. The people with the money are upset. Farmers are upset, he says, over this bill. What Democratic governor could have signed a bill into law that had these Republicans so upset? This is Florida, I'm gonna remind you, and that governor is Ron DeSantis. Thomas Kennedy over on Twitter has released a lot of these videos that were seen in this particular meeting where you find Republicans pleading with migrants to hang around and not run off. Because, oh my God, somebody signed a bill into law that made them want to leave. Thought that was the whole point. Apparently this bill is simply meant to scare them, is what he pointed out from the meeting, just to scare you guys. And he wasn't the only elected official that thought so. Enter Representative Alina Garcia. Listen to what she said to this group.
I agree with everything that Representative Roth said. This is a bill basically to scare people from coming to the state of Florida, and I think that it's done its purpose. This bill really doesn't have any teeth. Este proyecto de ley no tiene dientes, no? And even though we're immigrants, I was born in Cuba and I came when I was 2 years old. We need to have immigration that is legal. We need to have legal immigration, and the federal government has completely left us, they haven't done their job.
So Garcia and Roth both supported this bill. You would imagine these Republicans voting with their leader in the state. But now they're trying to warn these folks. Hey, she said it's toothless. This bill is toothless. And if you couldn't understand some of the things she was saying, sprinkled in between her points, she was speaking in this weird foreign language called Spanish. That language that Republicans say, if you speak it in this country, get the hell out. This is America, not Mexico. They say that all the time until they're trying to plead with these folks to hang around and continue to be used for their massive profits. Hey, it looks like they don't have very many principles left. But still, one more clip here from this whole thing. Roth fully illustrated that this has nothing to do with crime, nothing to do with migrants coming in and taking your jobs, nothing to do with all the scary things that they tell their constituents. This has to do with politics. I didn't say it. Roth is about to say it.
This is more of a political bill than it is policy. It does give more police state powers going forward to deal with immigration, but still, this is mainly a political bill. The season is over now in South Florida. If you can leave here and come back next season in November, we believe the law is only referring to permanent employees, not seasonal. And the good news is we will have more information by September or October. So the message is, come back and be ready to work.
Representative Roth said it's not about policy, it's about politics. Man. This is more of an exposure than the Fox News stuff.
I mean, it really can't. I'm speechless, honestly. It really doesn't get more gutless than this. This guy has made the game plain. The reason why they want these people back is because they want to exploit their cheap labor. That's it. They don't value them in any other way. They don't feel like making a way for these people to become permanent fixtures within the community, despite their contributions to the society with their labor and their tax paying and all of that stuff. It's kind of disgusting, the cynicism of this dude. And also you can tell he's talking like a guy who's been caught with his pants down. It's just obvious. He's been supporting the immigrant fear mongering and xenophobia, that brand of politics that Ron DeSantis has become extremely famous for. But we know what's most important. Like, it's okay to troll trans kids. It's okay to troll, people that are doing drag shows and all of that stuff. It doesn't really affect the bottom line of the people who really run these folks. But the second that these people hold on now. There's a reason why these people are here. And by the way, they're not here as any secret. You go to any strawberry farm in California, we're talking about back-breaking work. You go to pretty much any farm work that's happening all across the country, it's migrant workers doing it. And they're doing it in plain sight. There's no ICE, there's no police coming to kick them out because obviously the business interests are like, yo, these people work for cheap. And that's the name of the game in our system. It's exploitation of labor. And so, finally, these people get caught between a rock and a hard place of the nasty politics that they often espouse and the hard realities of commerce.
It's the way that, and they expect people to continue to not to see it this way. Yo, listen, if you want to make laws to make sure that these folks aren't stealing folks' jobs, because we keep hearing that all the time, maybe you should pay folks to work those jobs that aren't under the threat of being deported or under any kind of laws that they're coming after them with. But they went a little bit too hardcore because Ron DeSantis wants to be president of the United States, and the rest of these folks want to support him so they can also have their political careers grow as well. Really fast, let's look at what Ron DeSantis was posting on the floridagov.com site about this whole thing. They were very proud of it until now, is what he wrote up. They said Governor Ron DeSantis signed strongest anti-illegal immigration legislation in the country to combat Biden's border crisis. Did you hear those folks in that meeting talking about Joe Biden? Or were they talking about the dangers of SB 1718 that we just signed into a law? Who did that? They keep wanting to escape from it. And there was a very big part about this. They said, at least Representative Roth said, go tell your friends that they can have some resource to learn about this bill, so that, because farmers are really upset. Now you want help from the people that you threatened, that then ran away, many did, or stopped working at these sites. And you said, I need your help to save me after I threatened you. The audacity and privilege involved with that is off the charts. They can't even see it. That's why they're saying it in plain sight right in front of these folks. Here's another flyer of the event that they're putting out there. Look at the sympathy in this picture. Oh, if you're a migrant that's sleeping out on the streets, the implications of this Florida law, SB 1718, must have been passed by Democrats. And their stupid faces are right there on it that they're gonna become talking about this. Again, Garcia described it as toothless. I want to go to graphic 5 because this is what some of the representatives that also voted for it were saying. Here's specifically from Kean Michael. Is that today, this is again on that same site. Florida sent a strong message that as a state, we will protect our resources, communities, and our families. What happened, Representative Michael? Are you still representing or protecting communities and your people and resources? Or are you begging for folks to leave because it's seasonal right now and come back later when we need you for little to nothing as far as pay goes? Now, when you see them treat migrant workers like this, imagine the same way that we're fighting over minimum wage, over general equality when it comes to pay, resources when you get paid, maybe even healthcare, things like that. They treat Americans one small step higher than these folks because they're going, we can always run them off. But they didn't really figure it would fully happen. Apparently it's a toothless bill. I want to play that small piece from the beginning that Representative Roth said to really tie a bow with this whole thing. After all that you've heard, remember what he just said to them. Watch.
This bill is 100% supposed to scare you. I'm a farmer, and the farmers are mad as hell. We are losing employees. They're already starting to move to Georgia and other states.
I didn't say it. Representative Rick Roth said so, and he had no bars. Let's go ahead and jump to this next story, Woz, unless you got something else to say to flatten these idiots.
I can't remember the last time I seen egg on the face of politicians this way, where a bill that they passed quite cynically that had nothing to do with stemming the tide at the border. And obviously we know the border's not in some actual crisis, that there isn't some huge immigration problem. And also it's not as if they support some robust way of dealing with the folks who do come, whether they be asylum seekers, et cetera, et cetera. They just wanted to magically stop. Again, these are countries that US policy has played a huge part in destabilizing. Go look at what's happened in places where we've started coups, where there were democratically elected governments, and the chaos that this stuff has wrought. US official policy. We ruin the places these people live so that they can't live here. It's not like a bunch of people are just like, oh, I want to go live in Sarasota. That's my dream someday, to one day live, in the Everglades of Florida. No, they go to America because they got no other choice. And the bottom line is US policy has made it so that they need to come here. And then they come here and then, we do nonsense like what Ron DeSantis is doing down there. It's crazy.
We'll see if they answer to it, because we know that the basis for the building of this country was based off of enslaved folks. We use the same type of thing when we have imprisoned folks, and to a very near same degree when it comes to folks who come in from other countries. We just need it. Why not? And if you guys changed it up, we don't know what we're gonna do. That's the basis for our economy. Doesn't that kind of suck? Anyway, like I said, let's go to this next story. Lauren Boebert made a clown of herself. Watch.
Hey everyone, I am back in Colorado, but let's talk about DC. No excuses, I was ticked off. They wouldn't let me do my job, so I didn't take the vote. Once again, Washington's power machine shoved a multi-trillion-dollar bill down our throats, refused to allow debate or amendments, disregarded everything we fought for in January to actually allow representatives to do their jobs. And instead, they served us up a crap sandwich. Call it a no-show protest.
Lauren Boebert had a no-show protest for the debt ceiling bill because she was totally against it, so she just didn't show up. Hey, good principles by Lauren Boebert. That is, unless you're outside of the steps of the Capitol, she's trying to run up there and vote. Let's watch that.
They just closed it. They closed it? Yeah. Hey. Yeah.
Late. So you guys probably heard about this. Lauren Boebert first ran up the steps. That second clip was previous to her video saying that I just protested the vote because they wouldn't let me do things that I said I wanted to do. Just spinning the entire thing. Maybe she got caught in traffic, bro. The problem is the thing passed anyway. She just needed to put the political spin on it. We just talked about Florida Republicans that are lying to people. This is just another form of it when it comes to Lauren Boebert. Really fast. She released that other video after she's run up those stairs. And here's another screen image of it because Twitter still somehow found a way to expose her, but that didn't bother her. She posted that whole video and said, call it a protest. There's absolutely no way to ever justify adding another $4 to $6 trillion in debt. But of course, some folks, readers, added some context to it at the bottom and said that her did not vote was not a protest, as we can then see, but she doesn't care about that. Here's a little more proof that she was late. It's on the congressional record as well.
I can't stop watching that. And Boebert actually admitted that she was late and missed the vote on the congressional record, saying that she was unavoidably detained. And if she, quote, had been present, she would have voted nay.
If she was present, she would have voted nay. She said it. It's weird. You can say it when it's on the line and you have to actually not lie about it. But when it comes to TV videos posted up on your social media, it doesn't matter. These are a bunch of actors that are playing roles and they're fooling you into thinking that this is real.
Yeah, I mean, this just goes to show further what I believe is Republican lawmakers' contempt for their constituency and voters. Like, they really think their voters are idiots. They think their voters can be easily manipulated and lied to. And so that's how they carry themselves in their public personas. But I would just like to challenge what she's saying just on the merits. This quote unquote bill, debt ceiling, was not shoved down their throats. In fact, the Democrats and Joe Biden rolled over and justified their extortion attempt by doing nonsense, by adding work requirements to SNAP. Again, JR, $286 a month for food. That's what we're talking about here. $286 a month for food. They're adding work requirements and all of that. And then hypocritically, certain sainted groups like veterans and other venerated groups in our country are exempt. So they're just like, no, we know this is like unnecessary. There's only but so many people we want to punch in the head with this kind of thing. But they got stuff out of this. This was not quote unquote shoved down their throats. The Democrats stupidly and idiotically came to the table on this thing when they didn't have to. And the Republicans got something. So it wasn't even as they described. It's not even like the Democrats just said, screw you guys, we're doing what we want. They capitulated to their terroristic demands. And now this lady lazily misses her vote and comes out and says something was shoved down her throat. I mean, it's quite absurd, honestly, JR.
Well, not only that, there's also the fact that she said that she wasn't allowed to participate in it. No amendments were allowed. By the way, according to this article from Raw Story, they said as a fact check to that whole thing, 81 proposed amendments were put forward, and 14 of those were either co-sponsored or introduced by this random lady from Colorado. Her name is Lauren Boebert, who wasn't allowed to participate outside of the 81 proposed amendments, 14 of which were hers, except for that part. There's a point when they have to tell the truth when it comes to when they're actually in the meat and the minutia of these whole things and these processes, and then they can go on in front of constituents and lie their asses off. They do it regularly. The question I ask every time is, anybody who's a constituent of Lauren Boebert and followed her and loves her and loves Marge and loves Gates and all these folks who lie to you, ask yourself the question, how much longer are you gonna buy it? They're telling you right in your face that they don't give a damn and they know that you're stupid enough to continue to do it. I didn't say it, they're saying it. Let's take this first break, you guys. I don't think you're stupid. In fact, I wanna know what you have to say about what we've been talking about in these first couple of stories. But we'll get to that. But afterwards, Apple has a new product out. Make sure you start your savings to get your hands on it because it's not cheap. But maybe it's kind of cool. I want to dig deep into that and see what kind of world you just might be living in, Woz, after these new technologies come out. We'll do that and a lot more when we get back, you guys.
Welcome to the Damage Report. I'm John Idarola. This is gonna be a big one.
Meanwhile, in the Arctic, you know where this is going. You watch the Damage Report, the Arctic's on fire. Obviously, why would we be talking about the Arctic except to tell you that it's melting once again? The Republicans aren't that interested in it. I wonder why. Lift out of poverty up to 3.7 million people, including an estimated 1.3 million children. Hashtag save the children? Not if it costs money. I mean, come on.
What's happening? I'm Dr. Rashad Richey, host of Indisputable with Dr. Rashad Richey. Here's the bottom line. I play no games about policy, period. Too many people's lives are at stake. So here's what I do. I challenge conservative ideology that hinders the growth of this country. I make sure we place our facts in proper context, and I have no problem debating anyone on a position that I have. Progressives have the ideas to change the world, but when you really look at it, progressives have always change this world for the better. I want you to tune into my new show, Indisputable with Dr. Rashad Richey, right here on the TYT Network, 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 11:30 a.m. Pacific Time. I'll see you there.
Everything that we've accomplished over the years is because of our members who've allowed us to remain independent of corporate interests and reach 20 million followers. Now is the time to bring as many people into the progressive movement as possible. We're inviting you to be the change and help bring a community-powered progressive change machine to life. Details are at tyt.com/change. If you're a member, thank you. We need you to remain so. If you're one of the thousands of viewers out there who's not a member yet, the time has come for you to join now. We need you more than ever. tyt.com/change.
That's right, it's the watch list, and it's you guys. I mean, for a few minutes here. Let's go to two IT members, you guys. Lynn, what's up, Lynn? Says, you're so right, Woz. Wow, how often do you hear that, Wosny? You're so right, Woz. Oh, I'd have to talk to her.
Not in this house.
It's the norm. She says these Florida representatives are only concerned about their own self-interest. They're speaking to the audience as if they're children. That's something else I did notice too, at least it's a particular audience here. You guys have to know that you have to do this and that to help us. Let me let my translator speak to you in Spanish about it because this is America. Again, the hypocrisy is it's not overflowing, it's been overflowed. Over on Twitch, you guys, love you on Twitch. Radio Chick says, we totally want you here when it benefits us, but otherwise, GFY, right? Do we have that right, Florida? Absolutely, but they're not listening. They're gonna continue voting for these folks. Re918 says, I missed it. Someone to make Jayar take his hat back off. I didn't get a chance to zoom in and see his head. Just peek his whiteness, it's white, all that, see that? Peek. Yep. You asked for a peek, it's like it. Crypt Kill says, I don't even want to know where she was. Oh, where she was running back from. I mean, it could have been very something simple. Could have been just running behind. Maybe she had a kid issue. Who knows? She's in DC, but I don't know. Sometimes you're late.
They think it's some House of Cards situation where she might, you know what I mean? She might have been sneaking off with a staffer or something. That's what I think they're implying.
I didn't even think about that. I didn't think about it. No, there's no way. There's no way.
I don't think it was that fun, man. It's probably, she might, these people never stop fundraising. She might have been hanging out with donors, man. Like that's what they do in between time out there. Always, all day, every day.
But she missed that damn vote. And it could have been as simple as I missed the vote. And she says nothing else about this. Instead, she tries to benefit off it still. One last one though. Neil Mick YouTube says, wait, anti-immigrant hysteria leads to a work shortage? Who could have figured? By the way, that is said a lot. In fact, we saw some of the protests that were happening. Not even protests, just people leaving these work sites because they're like, yo, they said they're coming to get us. Why would we hang around? Cause and effect, that's what they wanted. Now, by the way, these rules that they put in place, you can put those rules in place in Florida and try and run off migrant workers and everything. But after you do that, make sure you tell these folks who paid you their money to get you into office, whatever small dollars they gave you from these companies and corporations and rich folks, make sure they know, yo, you're gonna have to start paying Americans, since you guys talk about how you wanna pay Americans for the work, you have to pay them more. Or pay the migrant workers more because they deserve it because they're doing the damn work. But if you hate certain people, go ahead, run them off, and then pay folks what they deserve. But they won't do that. That's not how America works. I didn't say it. they're saying it. Let's go ahead and jump to this next story, you guys.
So today, I'm excited to announce an entirely new AR platform with a revolutionary new product. And here it is, introducing Apple Vision Pro. Vision Pro is a new kind of computer that augments reality by seamlessly blending the real world with the digital world. It's the first Apple product you look through and not at. Vision Pro feels familiar, yet it's entirely new. You can see, hear, and interact with digital content just like it's in your physical space. And you control Vision Pro using the most natural and intuitive tools, your eyes, hands, and voice.
Oh, damn, Apple Vision Pro. You can sit back and control everything just with your eyes. The future is now. I'm actually very intrigued by this. But the thing is, you can just be living in your virtual reality. I have the Oculus thing, and I was thinking, I haven't used it in some time. And I was thinking, people are just gonna be living in these. It's gonna be pretty easy once they make it seamless, as if this virtual world is your real one. Here's some of those features, though. It gets pretty cool.
Capture photos and videos and relive your most important memories in an entirely new way. Watch your movies, shows, and sports, and immerse yourself in games on a giant screen surrounded by spatial audio. And connect with people as if you're sharing the same space. These are just some of the ways that Vision Pro blends digital content into the space around us.
So awesome. And matter of fact, you can look as cool as this lady, the model here for this picture. Apple does a lot of like dark images of their products, make it look like you're way advanced in your in a spaceship. I think it does look kind of cool. Here's something else that many people don't think looks kind of cool. Let's look at the price of this thing. At least, by the way, the Vision Pro, I assume would be starting at this amount. Let's look at that. $3,499. Like I said, I have the Oculus. I think I paid $300 for it, something like that. This is $3,500. You can probably figure out the way that people might have been responding to this. They were speaking to a crowd. Let's see what the general response was to that.
Apple Vision Pro starts at $34.99. It will be available early next year on it.
Boo, get off the stage. You suck. $34.99. What the hell is wrong with you? Nobody's gonna buy this damn thing, Waz. Let me submit one piece of information before you answer that, because I'm not sure where you're gonna go with this. I looked up the new iPhone 14 Pro Max with the terabyte of storage. You know how much that damn thing costs?
Isn't it like $1,400 or something like that?
$1,599.
Yeah, that's the thing about Apple that people don't realize. All of their products are essentially luxury consumer goods. Everything they sell is freaking expensive. You know, earbuds are I think I paid $250 for the AirPod Pros or whatever the hell they were called. Right. This was last year, June. Yeah, iPhones routinely go $1,200 and above. The iMac that I'm talking to you guys from, my MacBook Pro, I think that was like $1,600. I actually happened to finance that thing with my Apple card provided to me by Goldman Sachs at 0 interest. Yeah, this is what Apple does, bro. Like they sell really expensive stuff. I think this thing though is at the premium part of it. I was reading my man Ben Thompson's newsletter, Stratechery, and he was like, they said that Apple is projecting less than 1 million units sold in their first year, which is a pittance for Apple. Like they're used to selling tens of millions of product, whatever it is, right? And so, yeah, this is going to be a premium luxury good. I'm not gonna lie, I'm very intrigued. It looks really cool, but man, 3,500 smackaroos, that's a lot of lap dances, JR.
Is that that's the only way to fund these things apparently, huh?
I mean, Lord have mercy. Yeah, me and you might have to hit the Chippendale circuit if we think we're gonna get some extra funds for this. It's really expensive. Like even if you finance this type of thing, it's gonna come out to about $300
a
month for a year. Holy moly! Like this is my first hoop ride was less than this. I think my mom paid $1,500 for my first hoop ride. JR,
you must be young. You must be young because my first car cost me $400. $400. I paid $400 for that first car. It's a 1971 Pontiac Catalina.
Wow.
Green. And my damn car was a boat. So, but this thing is like the one thing about this though. Like, I don't know how much interest you have in the virtual reality world. I just got my first iPhone Christmas area time frame in the winter, and I was always an Android and Galaxy person constantly, and eventually I got on it because of some deal they gave me at the phone store. But before that, it gave me trouble for the green bubble that I send when I pop up and all that.
People.
See what I'm saying? See the look on your face? It's natural. It's natural because there's pressure put on other folks to make sure. The reason why Apple sells hundreds of millions of these products is because once the 1 million sells of these, people are gonna start going, you mean you don't have the Vision Pro? You mean you're just using the rest of those products? Really? Because I can talk to you in virtual if you had it. And eventually people start doing it and go into bankruptcy and debt over this thing. I'm gonna try not to. I
would say this. This is the only pushback I would give. I think a lot of people would agree that Apple is one of the best hardware manufacturers in the world. Like, they make products that work, that are intuitive to the users, super user friendly, and are of a high quality, right? I got a pair of, the Bose competitor to the iPods at a All-Star Weekend party. Got them for free. All-Star Weekend would have been February. By April, these things weren't working anymore. Like straight up and down, it's just there for whatever reason. Bose hasn't figured out how to make Bluetooth headphones, even though our dads have been wearing them since like 2003, JR. Remember when it was just the one Bluetooth in the ear? With the little every single dad in Home Depot had one. Apple is just good. Apple is really good at hardware, and this stuff works, and people like using it. It might be overpriced. A lot of it might be, marketing based in its appeal, sure, but their stuff actually works, and people, when they buy them, enjoy using them.
On to depressing and hateful news, you guys. Let's go to this next story. A dispute between a couple of neighbors, of course, down in Florida ends tragically. Let's go.
Last Friday around 9 p.m., Ajika A.J. Owens, a mother of 4, was shot and killed by an unidentified woman in Ocala, Florida. According to civil rights attorney Ben Crump, who is now representing the Owens family, A.J.'s children, who are 3 to 12 years old, were playing in a field next to an apartment complex when a 58-year-old white woman allegedly began yelling at them to get off her land and calling them racial slurs. According to Crump's statement, the children left, but accidentally left behind an iPad, which the woman took. When one of the kids tried to retrieve it, the woman threw it, hitting the boy and cracking the screen. Ms. Owens walked across the street to speak to the woman. But Crump's office says when she knocked on the door, the neighbor allegedly shot her through the closed front door. The bullet hole is shown here in photos provided by Crump's law firm. Owens was shot and later pronounced dead at the hospital.
Florida mother shot dead there, as you heard Reed talking about there, by her neighbor through the front door. She must have been threatened because the door was closed, and this woman came over to retrieve her iPad, or at least give her a piece of her mind for the way she assaulted her kid. Things apparently you can't do in Florida because this woman, who hadn't been identified yet for reasons you're gonna find out now, she hasn't been arrested yet either. There's more, watch.
Her children ran to my house, banging on the door, asking for us to call the police that their mother was shot. She has called the cops just for them playing. She calls them names.
The mother went to get the iPad and you shoot her? Who does that?
She wants investigators to act.
Charge her. You know who did it. Charge her.
Neighbors and witnesses that saw it, you see the way they responded to it. Who does that? One of them, apparently her name is Susan Larick. That's just what family and people around have said. It's not confirmed by any police officers or any authority figures because they're not doing much about it. They said they have more investigating to do before they do anything about this. So it's been 5 days since, and they want to let everyone know, just calm down, just calm down. This is Florida, remember? Here's them.
The sheriff stressing his agency has more facts to gather. Also elevating the stress of the moment, items reportedly thrown at the kids, skates according to the sheriff.
It was a pair of skates that was thrown at the children.
The sheriff adding they have more investigative work to do.
And what we have to rule out is whether the deadly force was justified or not before we can even make the arrest.
Also at the briefing, local community leaders asking for patience.
We'd like to get to the crux of the matter as to what happened. We'd like to calm all emotions that are running through the community and let law enforcement and our legal system play it out.
Was this is one of those stories that people may wonder, hey, you guys, let it play out, let it play out. This is a thing, we've seen these play out before. And the reason why some people may not have much faith in the way that these may play out is because we've seen the Trayvon Martin situation from years ago and how stand your ground, because that's what they're trying to assess right now. If it applies here, which we find that it applies all the damn time in these types of things. And reasons why, politicians down there and pundits that support it for years since then have been pushing it like it's the best law ever because it encourages more people like this potential a culprit here to do stuff like this and go, society doesn't care. She's just a black woman.
Yeah, I mean, this is horrible. Besides the racial components, which, it's America. You can never rule out race in this situation. However, I will say to people, folks listening and watching, these crackers in Florida, they'll shoot some white people too now. Don't get it twisted. Like, these people are gun happy, trigger happy, and reckless. There's no two ways about it. I think somebody like you or I, Jayar, we look at this and we say to ourselves, this is clearly a murder. Like, you senselessly murdered this woman. Your life was not in danger. This was just a neighborly dispute gone horrifically bad, and obviously the cops should act. But this is what I would tell people, man. This is what gun violence actually looks like for the most part, 95% of the time. 100%. A lot of the stuff that gets to the news is these mass shootings. And they're horrible. Don't get it twisted. The school shootings, it's horrible. But most of the gun violence in America is something as stupid and as senseless as this bang bang argument between actual freaking neighbors. These aren't even strangers. These are neighbors. These people know each other. They live in community with one another, and somebody's dead behind a simple argument about kids playing. But yeah, this is the face of gun violence in America, right? I know they like to publicize the mass shootings, and again, it's horrific. But this is overwhelmingly the gun violence that occurs in our country.
Yeah, when it comes to the numbers that happen, I remember looking at a report about that, and they were saying these types of events, when 1 to 2 people in a dispute in the home, accidental, all these things, suicide, all these things happen, and that runs those numbers up. But we talk about those as responsible gun owners. People will call this lady who shot this woman through her front door out of self-defense a responsible gun owner, and her 4 children now have to watch. They said, I think her 9-year-old or one of her kids was next to her when she was shot, because that's responsible gun ownership, right? Or throwing an iPad at a kid, or skates, all these things. When does their stand their ground come in? What if that 9-year-old or whatever kid came up with a gun? This is Florida, right? We're running behind. Let's jump to this next story, you go. There's more people that are losing their minds over someone being near their driveway. Yeah, another one of these. Let's watch.
Flagler County Sheriff's investigators say Terry Vetch was so unhappy that a vehicle briefly backed into his driveway in the W section of Palm Coast. He charged out of his house to confront the driver, who was now across the street. Vetch's own home surveillance captured it all.
We've seen many times where the anger gets a hold of somebody and they lose control about what they're supposed to do.
Investigators say the driver's passenger, who was knocking at a friend's door, heard the commotion and came back, which is where things escalated. Suspect Vetch told deputies she was the aggressor. But deputies say the surveillance shows something else. Though the female walked toward the suspect, deputies say she was never actually on the suspect's property. Instead, they say Vetch went toward her, pulled a gun out of his pocket, and pointed it at her head.
Best news about this story is that the woman didn't get shot there in the face after this potential criminal here, Terry Vetch, showed up and ran across the street to harass folks because their tires touched his driveway. He said he thought that it was some neighbor that he had trouble with in the past. Think about that. Is that a good reason to go and draw your gun on someone because a neighbor you had trouble with in the past? I'm not sure if that trouble is that the neighbor pulled a gun and put it in your face and said, the next time you see me, I'm gonna effing kill you. Maybe he would have described that scenario if that's what happened. But still, as you can imagine, as we've talked about before, it's Florida. So it's gotta be stand your ground, right? So then Vetch has to make himself out as the one that's the victim here, which of course he tried.
This woman came at me in my driveway, threatening me.
Okay, do you know who she is?
I don't know who she is. The neighbor across the street is. He's pending a drug charge right now for trafficking fentanyl. They've been doing drugs. The woman came at me. I pulled a gun out because she's coming at me.
And then she came out of the house, coming at me all the way up, and I backed into my driveway, and she's coming clear across into my yard, okay, into my face, okay, and in a threatening manner. And I'm like, I'm not going to deal with it.
You see his hands up. You see him talking about how calm he was. But for some reason, by the way, luckily some random person's surveillance video or Ring doorbell camera actually caught him walking out of his front door and waving that gun around, banging it on the back of someone's car window before he then went and threatened them some more. That Good Samaritan's cell phone and their house camera, his name was Terry Vetch. The same guy who was arrested and held on $50,000 bond, which he then posted and got out with. He kind of exposed himself, but he still thought he could lie directly and wiggle his way out.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it, JR? They talk about like, oh, your right to protect yourself. That's why you need this gun, or overthrow the government, or shoot down drones. I don't know. I tend to lose track of what these people say is the justification, but the idea that you feel so scared of a woman, a lady coming to talk to you, that you need a gun, like like literally, you're protecting yourself from a woman with a gun, and this guy calls himself a man. It's quite sad. And if it wasn't so sad, it'd be actually comical. Like, this guy was so freaking scared after he instigated this whole thing. And by the way, this whole don't roll your tires into my driveway when you're making a U-turn or a K-turn. I do this shit this thing all the time. Excuse me, JR.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm always using other people's driveways to make my turn a little easier. You know what I mean? I didn't realize I could get a gun pulled out on me for this crime or infraction.
Now think about it. Will you think about it next time you try to pull into driveway and make a 3-point turn?
Nah, because thankfully I live in California, and you ain't really got to worry about some hayseed redneck coming out and pulling a gat out on you. Luckily, thankfully.
Stay away from Fresno.
I'll do my best.
There's many places in between here in Fresno, by the way, as well. But I ask you that because look, do you think this guy paid attention to what happened with Ralph Yarl? Peyton Washington, Kaylin Gillis, all of them in that same week and a half were shot in multiple different ways by someone just ran up on them because they felt they were threatened. Of course, Ralph Yarl on the front porch, knocking on the wrong door. Kaylin Gillis in upstate New York with friends driving down a rural road when they were lost, just shot. And also Peyton Washington sitting in their car in a grocery store parking lot. So folks with the guns, do they see these and go, I'm not gonna get caught up in that. I'm a level-handed, responsible gun owner. No, they're encouraged by it. And they go, I'm gonna do that too. I mean, I've had this gun for some time and I haven't shot anyone yet. It's about time. My finger's getting itchy.
Because the gun is not for protection, JR. We know it's for intimidation, which is obviously a completely different use case, right? This guy didn't pull out his gun because he legitimately thought his life or his bodily safety was in danger. He wanted to intimidate and menace that woman, so he pulled his gun out and pointed it at her face. That's it. This guy's small, insecure, and a coward, and that's why he behaved that way.
And lastly, that woman, was she the neighbor that you had a beef with? Because that's who you pulled the gun on.
Of course, allegedly the guy's selling fentanyl, and he's a monster, JR. Always.
It used to be weed.
Always.
Now you have to say fentanyl. Let's go to this next story. It's probably my favorite of the day. PETA Davidson. It's not a partnership between Pete Davidson and PETA. It's beef. Let's go.
received today at 2:41 p.m.
Hi, my name's Pete Davidson. This message is for Daphna, the teen. Thank you so much for making comments publicly that I didn't adopt a dog. I just want to let you know I'm severely allergic to dogs, so I have to get a specific breed. I'm only not allergic to Cavapoos and those type of dogs. And my mom's dog, who was 2 years old, died a week prior, and we're all so sad, so I had to get a specific dog. So why don't you do your research before you create news stories for people, because you're a boring, tired fuck you, and suck my dick.
End of message.
A whole new side of Pete Davidson. Maybe not. I don't know. I don't pay close enough attention. But he left this message at PETA, at one particular official's voicemail after she came for him because he was doing this. Let's take a look at these pictures from this pet shop. As you probably heard there, he was purchasing a brand new puppy, a Cavapoo. I'm not good with breeds and these mixed breeds of dogs like this at all, but apparently it's cute and hypoallergenic is what he's pointing out, because he needs to stop with his sneezing. But by the way, so the pet shop then pointed out, and then PETA jumped straight to it to speak out about these issues. The woman that he was leaving this for was Daphna Nakaminovich. Here's what she wrote. It's tragic that Pete didn't seek out a burrow-born mutt from a city animal shelter, since shelters in New York and across the country are overflowing with homeless animals. PETA urges Pete to use some big heart energy by adopting, not shopping, in the future. These PETA spokespeople and people who put out these statements, they do have a way of words sometimes, and I understand what they're referring to there, considering they're talking about Pete Davidson though, and he wasn't feeling it, because as he also was, he pointed out, his mom and sister were feeling distraught over the loss of their brand new puppy, and he's like, I'm gonna fix it, and no, I wasn't thinking about whether or not I'm purchasing or that I'm adopting. No time for this madness. And the battle kind of went down from there. There's more that this whole thing fleshed out from, but first off, the voicemail.
I'm torn here, Jayar, because PETA likes to publicly shame and bully people, especially prominent people, celebrity people. Like, and it's pretty freaking annoying, overbearing, overdone, ridiculous. Look at me, Louis behavior. I'm annoyed by that. However, I don't know that Pete Davidson should be inviting that nice, middle-aged woman to his massive penis. Like, why did he have to do that? That seemed unnecessary. He could have got his point across about, like, look, I would have loved to adopt any old, mutt, canine or whatever, if my health would have actually permitted it, but I need to get a specific dog, and these dogs you can't adopt. You gotta pay for them. So I want to have a dog. I'd like a companion, but I had to do that, and he could have just said that, but he was so rude about the sucking of his penis. I just didn't understand why he had to do that, JR.
Well, he had to do it because of this. This is what he said. He said, I haven't seen my mom and sister cry like that in over 20 years. It really tore him apart. He said, I was trying to cheer up my family. I was already upset that the store had filmed me without my permission or acknowledgement. And also then this organization, of course, PETA, made a public example of us, making our grieving situation worse. I'm upset. It was a poor choice of words. So I think he hears your pleas here. And also this is the dog that passed away apparently from a sudden illness from before. Very cute, so he had to get the same type of thing because look, he needs a hypoallergenic dog. But back comes PETA. Did you think about this though, Waz? This is what PETA said in response to that with the hypoallergenic stuff. He said, this isn't a graphic on screen, but no, not that one. This is what I found separately. If Pete had done his research, oh damn, he would have known that there's no such thing as hypoallergenic dog, and that at least a quarter of dogs in shelters are purebreds, and that Pet Finder has listings for homeless dogs of every breed under the sun, including the one he purchased. And he said, and then also TMZ contacted Davidson about his voicemail, and he said he was unaware that he could adopt a specific hypoallergenic dog, and he was told that it's impossible, if not extremely rare. The time was ticking, and he needed to get himself a brand new dog. So I think at the end of it, he's probably gonna apologize for the words, but he's like, listen,
yeah, but also he can go out and adopt the dog then. Like, whatever, let's split the baby here. I get to buy the dog that I actually want, and then I get to go to the shelter and get one of these unwanted orphans that Peter's so thirsty for Pete Davidson to have. Like, all right, cool. I'll just go get one of the Fidos at the damn shelter too. I'm sure, his sister and his mom will enjoy a new puppy from a shelter as well.
We'll see which one actually. It'd be a nice comparison. Is the shelter dog more well behaved and better a family dog, or is the purchased bred one? Oh, this is a good. We can go ahead. They can run this comparison, and we can actually finally settle this dispute. Let's go to this last story, though, you guys. Over on Fox News, Harris Faulkner apparently was filling in. Ever since Tucker Carlson left Tucker Carlson tonight, it's turned into Fox News tonight. Harris Faulkner, a longtime host on the network, she took her chance at old Tucker's position, and she had some fascinating things to say. Watch.
We know who we are, and we know whose we are. For those of us who believe, we must be bold in our faith right now. When you gather in public spaces, pray thankfully over your food. Even when the server gives you the stink eye or tells the manager that your peaceful grace is triggering them. Had it happen to me. I've been asked to leave a restaurant for openly bowing my head in prayer hands. In America. It's all good. They don't deserve my money anyway.
Come on, bro. Come on. I got the look from my cousin all the time when I was lying my ass off. So Harris Faulkner apparently, as was exposed on her monologue last night, that we need to pray despite the fact that restaurants will kick you out for praying hands in your grace. If you say Jesus in Jesus' name, oh man, they will persecute you on the spot. Happened to me. But that's okay. Why are we talking about it then? When did it happen? Where did it happen? How did it happen? What exactly were you saying? Were you praying loudly out loud? What was going on? Was it that they saw a Christian praying in a restaurant and went, yo, this isn't America anymore. We're looking to persecute Christians. Did you watch Fox News? Well, they're portraying it to their followers because they'll eat this up like the same stuff they ate up when Tucker was around. But I'm not sure if they trust Harris the same way that they trusted Tucker. So maybe she has to recalibrate the things that she said. First, Woz, though, are you buying it? Maybe I'm the bad guy. I have no proof that it didn't happen. I just don't think it happened.
I mean, you mean the kind of person who thinks that there were dinosaurs in Jesus's time might be lying about getting kicked out for prayer? No, I'm not surprised by this. And no, I don't believe her. This is a majority Christian nation. Most people in America are Christian. And by the way, when you're doing your bow head, they don't even know what kind of prayer you're doing. They assume you praying to white baby Jesus, okay? And so, this idea that prayer is not banned anywhere. Officially anyway. Like a kid will not be stopped from praying nowhere. No adult will pray. It's like in our official capacity at school, or maybe at your job. They're not gonna be like, hey guys, let's say a Hail Mary or the Our Father right now for my Catholics out there. That won't happen at your job, but nobody's gonna cry or get you fired if you do one of those. This is crazy. You don't get kicked out of restaurants for being at your own table and praying. This is just a lie. And by the way, somebody like her, these bougie restaurants they be going to, they barely want to talk to people. They so afraid of the clientele. You know what I mean? Because listen, you ain't gotta be white to be a Karen now. I'm sure that lady is a big Karen when she goes out to eat. And so they probably don't even want to talk to her anyway, JR, but they're not gonna kick her out for, doing the sign of the cross now. Come on.
It's why I'm trying to figure out exactly what it was that she's talking about, because I'm not sure if this factored into the story that the producers potentially wrote for her here. But you know who else prays? Muslims. So just bowing your head in prayer isn't necessarily it's so exclusive to Christianity. Many religions pray. But for some reason, Christians think, yo, I'm the only person who prays. I'm the only one who has a connection to God. I'm the only person who thinks there is a God because I'm Christian, without any clue or acknowledgement of other religions. So what if they thought you were engaging in Muslim prayer and you rolled out your rug and you faced it east? I think that's correct. I'm sorry, I'm not up on Islam either. But if that's what you were doing,
I'm not up on any of it.
I have a pretty good idea that people like that follow people like Harris Faulkner would go, get that Muslim out of here. They're praying for death right now. They're about to bomb the place. I've heard of those things be said. So which one has some kind of a religious discrimination here? Not sure.
It's silly, and I'm like, what kind of restaurant would kick you out for Christian prayer? And I was thinking it had to be some type of Mediterranean, right? Like it had to be Middle Eastern of some kind, either Israeli, because obviously they're Jewish, or maybe an Iranian restaurant, perhaps a Lebanese restaurant. But there's like Christians in Iran and Lebanon. I don't know what type of restaurant it would have to be that was banning this stuff, JR. I'm struggling to come up with who would do this.
My last thought here, I know we gotta go, you guys, but with television shows like this, producers and writers put everything together. If you notice, sometimes when someone fills in on these types of shows, they end up saying the exact same types of things with the same tone and words. It happened with Around the Horn. I used to watch Around the Horn all the time when I was in college. And whenever Wilbon wasn't, not Around the Horn, the other one, PTI.
Kornheiser?
Yeah, and whenever Wilbon wasn't on or Kornheiser wasn't on, and then someone else came and filled their spot, they said the exact same thing, the exact same way he would say it. Not saying that they don't do their work, but there's writers, there's producers, there's a standard for a show. Harris Faulkner's filling in on the show that has a vacant host right now, so she has to be more like him. She has her own show. I don't know if she says this on there, but you have to be crazy and over the top and angry and lie your ass off if you're on Fox News tonight, more than you would on any other show, I guess. That's it. We ran out of time, bro.
Praise the Lord.
Don't say it too loud. They might kick you out of the apartment. Thanks, Watts, for joining me on the program today. Good stuff. Good to see you, brother. We'll catch you next time. Also, you guys out there, thanks for joining me as well. Up next, you got the Young Turks. Yeah, that's right. Go ahead and check them out. We'll see you guys tomorrow for Big News Wednesday over on John's show, First Before Mine. Bye.